This is 2 Minutes About Time with Luke Allen and Robert E.G. Black, the podcast that takes a look at the film About Time 2 minutes at a time. I am Richard Curtis, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you don't, well, you can just travel back in time 2 minutes and listen to something else.
I'm one of your hosts, Luke Allen. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Robert E.G. Black.
Hello.
Special guest for this week, Eddie.
Howdy.
There we go. That's an interesting way of saying hello.
Don't know why I said howdy. Don't know where that came from, but there we go.
So, today, we're getting more emotional, and this is the big one, I think, today.
Yeah.
Do you think, Robert, is this the biggest emotional moment in the film? Is this the moment where you think most people cry?
Probably. Not me.
Yeah, fair it is. So what if any films, Robert, have made you cry? And same with Eddie.
I'm not saying this film doesn't. I'm saying it would have been like last minute or before.
Oh, okay.
I have a problem with the walk as a kid thing.
It may be the same problem as I have. I still like it. It's beautiful, and because of its beauty, I allow my problem to...
I think for it to work for me, we would have had to see Tim as a kid in the movie before.
Oh.
Like, if we'd seen them walking around when he was a kid. So
That's
it's
really
more of a visual
So maybe
repetition.
even in the opening montage, if we just had... Yeah, I get that.
I never thought about that, but that makes a lot of sense, because there's no kind of familiarity of seeing Tim as a kid.
I mean, they're walking. They could do that whenever.
So actually, the background pictures that we get throughout the rest of the film, the little photos in the background, are of young Donald.
Yeah.
They could have done it of Charlie, right? Who plays the kid.
Yeah, if they were going to actually... I mean, we barely see him. Most of these shots are from far away.
Yeah, we get away with it. And once again, I don't think anyone pays attention to the pictures of young Donald. So it took us a while to recognise them. So it's fine. But yeah, so the dad opens the minute with a quick little walk, totally against the rules, of course, but if we don't change a thing, if we're very careful, it shouldn't do any harm. It'd be nice. And
They must have been very careful.
Yeah.
Or maybe Tim had to then go back in time again a lot to be like, fucked up, sorry. But it's a nice, we see the perfect thread narrative. But
we know that Tim can reverse this.
Yeah, because he did it with Kit Kat.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is.
He just gets to screw over his father and make this go away.
I think that's where the problem is for me. As I said, I like it. It's so emotionally powerful that I didn't think of this the first couple of times I saw the film. It's only the more I think about it, it's like, really? Is it the reason he can't see his dad is because they're having another child being born?
Mm-hmm.
But if he can do this and be careful, then can't he go back every now and again and still be careful? Why does this have to be the final goodbye?
It might just be too emotionally tough, because loss is hard to deal with sometimes, and particularly when they're obviously a very, very close family, like he said right at the beginning, so it might just be like, I can't go through this again.
Yeah, I can do with that more emotionally, yeah.
That's why I think it would fit if we've, seen this moment before. Maybe their version, what he means by careful is we literally do the same thing we did the first time. We just hang out and throw some stones.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was thinking, do you just kind of not think about what you're doing in order to make sure the same thing happens? You just sort of let yourself do it.
Or instead of risking Posey and Jeff, we just risk Jeff because he doesn't even have a name. And go back a few months before the cancer got bad.
Yeah.
It's
that
a weird
could
one.
walk, you know?
And it's lovely and emotional and powerful that they have gone back to when he's a kid. But they could have still done that with them adults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just like they're risking a lot for something they could have just...
They could have just left the room and walked out to the beach and thrown some stones.
It would have been weird going back as a kid, and then as a kid being like, oh, Dad, I can time travel. And I'd be like, what have you done? How do you know now? Because I would have, as a dad, I would have so many questions like, oh, you're 6 and you can time travel.
And what does child Tim think happened on that day? Because he doesn't remember this. He lost an afternoon.
Steep. I mean, it's no cats, but it's deep.
Well, but the movie Butterfly Effect gets into that, because it affects him that things happen that his future self is making happen, because he suddenly has a knife and his mother thinks he's insane. Turns out his future self grabbed a knife, and it's a problem. This just, I think, well, Luke's just disconnected, so I'll say this right now without him. I do not like this moment in the movie, because I think it's pointless.
To me, it felt like here is the big emotional scene, which when it's quite obvious that, like, Pixar does this a lot. They've done it a lot less recently, but it's always like, here's the big emotional scene. It's like they're poking you with a stick. Are you crying yet? Are you crying yet?
Right,
like,
we had that last minute. It was fine.
Hello,
and then
sorry.
Like, let's do one more thing and make it worse.
Sorry for vanishing there. What was the last thing I said before cut out?
It's okay, we've already ridiculed what you were saying. It's fine.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, I was saying that for me, I like this scene, but it does feel, and I have a problem with this with a lot of films, particularly Pixar. It feels a lot like they're poking you with a stick going, are you crying yet? Are you crying yet? And I'm just like, no, stop it.
I feel that, but for me it's yes. Yes, now stop.
But Luke is yes, and I want more, yeah.
But I like this scene, but it's, I can understand why Robert doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a thing that Mark Kermode had said, where he said, it's probably figure of speech has been heard before, but I heard it on Mark Kermode's show when he was talking about yesterday. And he said you can be angry at your enemies for crossing their knife and fork, but you can forgive your friends for eating with their fingers.
Yeah.
And I think that's true in this case. You could hate other films for doing this, but because we love this film, it's fine.
Yeah, I think
this is why I hate it.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, like...
Robert now hates the film. That's today's episode title.
This was a part for me where when I was watching it, I started feeling all warm and fuzzy. But literally the second you start to think about it, you're like, hang on! And everything's like flipped.
I've said before as well, like when Tim's older and he's got like, he knows he's gonna die, do you think he just goes back in time, screws up life for everyone else and just relives them out? He's like, nothing to lose.
We'll definitely get into that.
Or what if he has dementia and the only thing he can remember is he can travel in time?
Ooh.
Then he won't care. Things will go horribly. His kids will get arrayed. He occasionally remembers random things from the future and he doesn't know why. I'd also note the sound effect is different this time. You get the heartbeat thing and then you actually get a clock ticking.
That's cool. Oh yes, I liked that you get the heartbeat. That was, again, that probably helped me be like, it's gonna be emotional, cause
Yeah, the last several times he used time travel, it was more of a heartbeat than the original sound effect.
We didn't even have the original sound effect for the other big emotional bit of Gold in Them Hills. The music just kicked in.
But I liked it a lot because it was like, this is such an important decision for him, and I think because they're both doing it together as well, it's like amplified, which is lovely. Also, imagine if they both time traveled, but one of them thought of the wrong time. What would happen then? Like proper time slip paradox. I thought it meant like last Tuesday. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, because I'd imagine they've done this a few times, haven't they? Also, not gonna lie, when I went on holiday to Wales in the caravan, which I can't remember if I talked about in the episode or off camera, last year, we were not too far from the beach, and I specifically made a point of skimming stones with my dad. I was like, we've got to do this. I was like, we've got to do About Time.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was good fun. I'm not normally a fan of the beach. It probably sounds weird, but the smell of sand makes me want to bite the inside of my cheeks.
I get that, but with other things, like with, this can sound horrible, so I apologise to anyone who's a bit squeamish, but when I'm not wearing socks and shoes, I worry about my nails scraping on the top of my shoe. And if I'm thinking about that whilst I'm walking, even wearing socks, I have to stop so I can sit down and not faint. It's just horrible.
But I genuinely don't get why there's a thing with biting the inside of my cheeks. Like, what on earth is that? Just whenever I've smelt sand, I've done that. And for ages, I think I didn't have my family go to beaches. Then after About Time, I just started liking it.
Now you've got bloody gums forever, though. It's horrible.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever been to Cornwall, so I really want to go to Cornwall.
Oh, Cornwall's lovely.
Also, the church used in this film for the wedding is also in one of my other favourite films. Have you seen Keeping Mum?
I don't know.
Okay, it's a film. Rowan Atkinson is a vicar and Maggie Smith is a serial killer. And Patrick Swayze is Kristen Stewart's, affair. It's a beautiful film, and it's just hilarious. Like, Maggie Smith as a serial killer is a great concept for any film. So, I recommend that. It's hilarious, and Rowan Atkinson is like one of the only serious parts in the film.
That's
like,
so
he's just oblivious to all this serial killing taking place. Like, she comes as a nanny who comes to solve all of their problems, but what the family don't know is that she's killing everyone who causes these problems.
What's
so their life it's called Keeping Mum.
Keeping Mum. I'm definitely going to watch that because I'm a big fan of serial killers.
But yeah, the church he's in is the church from About Time. I think, Robert, you found that out a few weeks ago. You haven't seen Keeping Mum either, have you? But it's...
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, you said, Keeping Mum was found around here, and I was like, the church, of course! So I definitely need to go there. I'm going to double check now just by finding a picture of the church and Keeping Mum. Because I'd imagine there's probably not another church in that village.
No, that place is pretty small.
So, Robert, you're a visuals guy, so this is your episode, really.
Well, no. And then it's them running around, skipping stones, and then at the very end, when tackles Tim to the ground, which is funny.
So, what do you guys think about the fact that young Tim is Charlie Curtis? I don't know if there's much to say about that, but it's interesting.
I think it's a nice little touch. I didn't actually realise until... I missed it on an early episode, and then I'd forgotten about it until you mentioned it again. But yeah, it's a nice little touch. It's just, if you know, you know, and it's a nice little Easter egg for you.
And I think the handheld camera's a lot more noticeable in this as well.
Mm.
Yeah, tackle into the ground. I like that we don't see either of their faces much as well. I know it's probably just a way of covering up the fact that... age. Yeah. Although Bill Nighy, I feel in just the slight darkening of his hair, works completely. It convinced me.
It's a lot easier for some people, just for whatever reason, to like hide their age and make them look younger or older. But yeah, he's because I always think of Bill Nighy as old, even though he's not always been old. He just has like an older face.
Yeah.
It's the same with me with like a Chevy Chase. I only really saw him in Community, and then it was like, here's everything else he's done, and all his problems he's had. He's a horrible person. But it's like, thanks for immediately ruining the character for me. I've just discovered.
Is Community one of the shows that you'll ever tackle on sitcom, or do you think, nah?
Possibly. Community is so hit and miss for me, and that's even including earlier seasons, because I don't like Dan Harmon as a writer. I don't think he's very good.
Are you a fan of season 4 then?
It's okay. It loses everything that Community was kind of about.
I feel like when I didn't know that Dan Harmon had left for season 4, I didn't notice the decline as clear as it is now.
Well, I remember when season 4 came out, I was watching it as it was coming out, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. And then when Troy left, I was kind of just like, well, that's just kind of completely like taken out a massive part of Community, and then there were still great moments in season 5 and 6, but it never really recovered.
The final episode of season 6 was great, but it would have been nice if Donald had come back, just for a little bit. If we had Donald and Chevy back for it. I feel like the movie, Donald Glover's agreed to do it. I feel like Chevy Chase should be in the movie in some way.
He's dead though. Pierce died in the series.
No, I get that, but I feel like...
hologram or something.
A hologram or, I mean, Pierce could have faked his own death. I feel like we wouldn't even be annoyed at that.
I don't think he's clever enough. And they already did fake deaths of like 2 or 3 other characters.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like you could find an excuse to put Chevy Chase in and people wouldn't have a problem because he was prime Community.
It would be like his twin brother he didn't know he had, or something stupid.
I know it would be hard to get Chevy back after everything. But I mean, if you've seen his Instagram recently...
No, I haven't.
Like, basically, anyone tags him in anything and he reposts it. For some reason, like he posted it on his story. I gave it a go. I posted that I was watching Community and I got posted on Chevy Chase's story. It's a key moment in my career. But yeah, it's like people just post about Pierce in Community and they just talk about how great he was and talk about how people literally posting like the table read they did and saying, oh, shame Chevy Chase isn't here and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, he's just sharing all of that? And it's like, really?
But it's for like, listen to sitcoms at Chevy Chase.
You could try that. I think people have done stuff like that. It probably gets, you should give it a go. Just say, seeing whether Chevy Chase will repost this. Like, I think if you actually explain what you're doing, then he might find it.
I did mention last episode I had a controversial opinion about
Oh, of course,
yes.
I don't like Kit Kat.
Sorry, I was waiting for Robert to say something.
I think the silence speaks volumes.
Robert's just left.
Yeah.
It's like his mic.
I'm not a big fan of quirky characters in general, and it was just a bit too much for me.
Robert, should I add a sound of you walking away or something?
Just like, yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean. What about Desmond though?
I didn't really notice him, to be honest. He felt like he would just jump in every now and then, and he had a really nice moment during the funeral. Where he said he loved me. And I was like, oh, that's nice. That felt like he had a point to make.
No, I see that.
But Kit Kat was just kind of like a lot random.
I think Kit Kat grows on me more through this. So that's why the whole Kit Kat story just didn't work for me anyway, because I feel like the questions it asked about how he could take her back in time and all of that, the fact that he did that and then it got removed, and so basically it had no effect on her life. The only good thing I take, well, not the only good thing, it's a good film all the way through, and I only have these problems when nitpicking. But the main good thing that come out of that is the message, which I think is something which I've learned recently through trying to help some of my own friends, is that you can't fix someone's life. They have to do it for themselves.
Yeah, I did really like how well, basically, with Tim as well, she had to overcome her addiction, and she had to go through that car crash to be like, okay, I've got to fix myself, I've got to fix everything. I really like they told that story, and I'm glad she had a happy ending, because it's just, that was the right thing to do, I think. But
I should say as well, we're not here to offer life advice. You should still be there for someone.
No, definitely, yeah.
But you can't expect that you can just fix it for them.
Sometimes you have to just make your own mistakes and realise that was a mistake I made, which is a very tough thing to do, particularly when you can see your friends also making a similar mistake. But sometimes you just have to make that mistake to learn. And I'm glad Kit Kat had to go through, a car crash to be like, okay, that's shit. And I liked it when, basically, after that, I was like, okay, now she's a relatable character to me and I can understand her. But all the quirky bits, I was just like, nah, there's nothing there I can latch onto.
So to the listeners who watch Vicar of Dibley, where are you with Alice?
She's hilarious, because she's
so you're fine, okay.
Because she is the village idiot, but she's not, like, I don't know, because Alice is like a pure comedy character in a comedy film, whereas with Kit Kat, it felt like there was something I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know what it is really, it's just Alice is an idiot.
Incidentally, if you didn't know, Emma Chambers is also in Notting Hill, and she's brilliant in that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but she's, Alice is an idiot, and that is her whole character. There's not like a hidden thing underneath. She's just an idiot, which is like, great, I get the character, I can understand it. Whereas Kit Kat, I was like, they're holding something back, I don't know what it is yet, but the whole quirky, weird persona thing wasn't connecting with me.
So, Robert, what are we on for the visuals of this whole time on the beach?
We already did that. We gotta go to the minute 114.
Minute 114, of course. Which you've just got little bits of the dialogue. I'm tired. Thanks, Dad. And, I mean, is there even anything else on the visuals on 114, really? They're walking back. I like his arm around him.
They sit down for a bit, and then they walk away from the beach. And we cut to Christmas.
I can't remember exactly where I heard it. I think it was on the commentary, but I'm not certain. So once again, as we always say with these facts, they're in my head. If they're wrong, apologies. This beach is actually a clothing optional beach, and it was really uncomfortable when they were filming it because so many naturists came by. Yeah, I'm going to double check what beach this is. Okay, so the house is Porthpean House on Porthpean Beach Road. So I'm assuming it's Porthpean Beach.
It's not.
It's not?
No.
Okay, do you know what the name of the beach is?
No.
Okay. But you know it's not that one?
Yes, because there's actually a street view on the beach for there. So you can see what that beach actually looks like.
Yeah, fair point. I'll have to continue to find out. So it's not, so they never use the beach that's right by the house?
They show them on part of the walkway the first time they walk down there, but then they cut to the different walkway. And I guess I could know the path down to the beach is not by the house.
Oh, it's not?
No, there is one there, but the one there is like this big stone thing, like a ramp, and it's less like rustic and like natural.
I don't know, because you said you've been to England before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Did you go to Cornwall?
No, we didn't go that far down.
It's such a Cornwall-esque beach. It's proper like everything.
Yeah, it's probably a beach nearby, but they wanted a different visual, just like they drove on the dirt road that's nearby.
Yeah. Cornwall's proper like picturesque and pebbly and cobblestoney. Yeah. I can't think of what an American comparison would be. But Cornwall's like another world. You go in there and you're like, oh, hang on, everything's like gone back.
Well, even the house, the one time they show the front of it, you can tell was a different style house originally.
Yeah. They painted it for the film. They painted the outside of the house pink. And I swear you can hardly tell it's pink on screen.
I couldn't.
I thought it was white, but I was watching behind the scenes and they painted the house. And it was like, eh? So strange. Vault Beach, 8 miles away. There we go, Vault Beach. It's interesting that they choose it, don't they? That beach.
It may have been when they filmed it, it wasn't peak beach weather. It's probably freezing and you just can't tell. Because we don't have the best weather in England anyway. But it's probably absolutely freezing, and so no one's turned up. What if you close it off for a shoot, which is easier said than done. But yeah, it's nice because it's all enclosed by hills and stuff. So it looks like quite a hidden away beach. It might have been a nice father and son. This is our hidden beach kind of thing. But I also like the idea of father and son walking around, and everyone else is just naked around them. They're like, oh, this is awkward. But
it says here that it's unofficially known as a naturist beach.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we've still got a major part of 114 left.
Yeah.
Right. So Tim narrates, so I'm almost up to date with my story. As all families do, we got used to life after death, and it was still fine. And things settled back into their traditional rhythms, season after season, and are much as they have always been. And we've got used to Kit Kat being happy again. And then we got used to her being a mum, albeit not a very good or even safe one. And in the end, I think I've learned the final lesson from my travels in time. And I've even gone one step, and that's what it's a question. Mm-hmm. Right. Kit Kat, if she has a son, can he travel?
Well, they do say in the family, so I'm guessing so. Which would also imply the uncle could travel in time as well.
But Uncle Desmond was the mother's brother.
Oh, okay.
So it's not blood related.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's a weird one. Because I just, Kit Kat doesn't know about the time travel, so maybe there are several generations who just haven't been told they can travel in time.
Possibly. And unless Tim says to Kit Kat's son, by the way, this happens, then she probably could do, but...
Yeah, he just has a strong relationship with his uncle then. Which, yeah, I think that could work. It'd be nice. There's a sequel idea, Richard Curtis.
Oh, and we could put in another British chocolate bar pun and call it About Time Out. So...
That's awful. I don't know why I laughed. So yeah, anything on the visuals, Robert, during this montage? Well, obviously there are, but
there's
anything
lots
worth
of them.
note?
Posey's 5 now, so we're actually probably at 2013 finally, which makes sense. The new kid is there. Jeff isn't.
He
might have
Jeff.
been erased by the walk.
Oh.
He's just rid of Jeff. Bye-bye, Jeff.
Bye. Yeah.
Do we see Jeff at all for the rest of the film?
Maybe next time. Not this Christmas scene. He's not in the room.
Oh, Jeff, my favorite character.
Or the baby's supposed to be Jeff, but that doesn't make any sense. She was about to give birth to the next one.
Well, Jeff.
Then the baby's missing.
Jeff's my favorite character.
Posey's too old.
Oh yeah, I feel like he's got such an arc. Yeah.
I want to hear about Jeff. Come on, lads. Come on, Rich.
I love the way that Jeff evolves throughout the story.
Well, he took
at the start he's
really
just
well. He was the stoic one. So he pulled himself together for the funeral. Didn't want to show too much. I think it's great how at the start he's so sort of childlike and naive. Yeah. And
how he starts to learn more about the world as the film progresses.
I think he's a big baby.
Maybe he time traveled back and erased himself.
He's just like, I'm done. Let's do a butterfly effect on this.
Yeah, Jeff is the darkest timeline.
And I really wanted Kit Kat to actually do something unsafe when he says she wasn't a safe mother.
She just goes, let's see if he bounces. No, he doesn't.
No, she just told the baby.
She's the reason why Jeff isn't there.
She killed him. So yeah, I think we basically at the end of this film, we've decided that Jeff doesn't exist.
Right.
Jeff was a figment of our imaginations all along, really.
Yeah, Jeff is...
It makes sense.
Actually, what does Jeff do to the plot?
He added an extra baby.
I feel like he's just there. It's fine, because it's real life.
Yeah, he's just there. Because even limiting the window when Tim can talk to his father could have been by this baby, whose name we also don't get to know. It's Jeff.
That's Jeff with a GE, not a J.
Jeff Mark 2.0. New Jeff. So, I mean, so we've got the playing in the lawn.
Yeah, playing croquet. They're,
Thank you for saying that. The reason I didn't say it is I always get croquet and crochet mixed up in which one's pronounced as which. So I didn't want to make the mistake.
Yeah, my grandma loves croquet.
We get a better shot of the house finally. Tim and Mary's
still not
house.
pink.
No, not the Parthian house. Tim and Mary's house. Although I still don't know where it is.
And then we get Kit Kat being a mum. And, I mean, we're assuming that Jay's the father, although technically it's not canonically said.
Well, he's there at Christmas, so I think that's the implication.
So, I mean, any comments to wrap up Wednesday?
I would have one last note, because considering Margot Robbie's first shot in the film, it's nice that this shot of Mary, I don't think it's her last shot because she's in the next couple of minutes, but also starts with her leg. It's like Tim's story is finally focused on her. Wrongly.
Yeah, it's a nice, like, beginning of the end of the film, like, very end of the film. Mm-hmm. It's just like everything's all wholesome, it's all wrapping up nicely, and it's just, sometimes you need that in a film. I was thinking, because originally when I started watching it, and listening to your early conversations, I thought, okay, well, something's going to happen in this film with Kit Kat, and after that it's just going to be horrifically sad, and everyone's going to break up and possibly die, and it's going to end with Tim being miserable and alone in the room. But it didn't, and I'm really glad it didn't, because sometimes you just need a nice, like...
It's such a different movie.
Yeah, that's Jeff's story.
Are we ready to wrap up 114?
Yes.
And...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, good.
Eddie, where can listeners find you on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter at LittleVoicesEd with 2 Ds, and you can follow Sitcand at facebook.com/Sitcand, or Twitter at Sitcand.
And Robert, where can I find you?
Robert E.G. Black on social media, or LemmyDrops.com.
On that website, you'll find a link to the store, which includes our Graham Curry Fan Club shirt and our 2 Minutes About Time shirt.
Listeners can find me on Twitter at llama_bottle0, Instagram at Ginger Luke, Facebook Luke Allen Film. All podcasts, radio appearances, newspaper articles, short films, anything I'm remotely involved in is at lukeallen.co.uk. This podcast on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at 2 Minutes About Time. We're also on IMDb at 2 Minutes About Time. We've joined our Facebook group The Cupboard to discuss all things about time. And we'll end this episode with Shine On, You Crazy Diamonds. The 2 Minutes About Time theme is performed by Ethan O'Mahony and is a cover of the About Time theme originally composed by Nick Laird-Close. 2 Minutes About Time is a production of Lemming Drop Studios in association with Bottle O Productions.